Hi everyone, this is Developer Plays. In this series, we're going through my Steam library and playing some games that we haven't for a long time. We're just going to jump into a game. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about how I've been playing it and see what happens. Today we're going to be looking at Transport Fever 2. We're just going to make a brand new map. We'll go with large. I think this is relatively good enough. This is maybe change the seed so the water's a bit more north-south. That's kind of cool. Just doing, not too much around, kind of emphasize on distance here. We don't want things to be, too close to each other and too bound up to each other. Let's go with, USA maps. Because I want to make this a little bit faster, we'll start with 1900. Hard difficulty so that we really push ourselves. The point of the 1900 is to use trucks rather than horses and carriage. Cargo needs up to 4s per town's fine. We'll let the industry close down, but not much. That's a new feature since I've been playing it last. And density, I'm okay with medium, whatever that means. So let's jump into it. Okay, here we are in Transport Fever 2. So we'll take a quick look at the map. See, it's a big rectangular map. We asked for a 1x2, so you can see the top and the bottom of the map here. For those people who haven't played Transport Fever 2 before, the rough gist is that there's these production sites. You can see like this one's got what's it called, wheat, and then you want to get that to like a bread place. And then bread will need to then go to someone who wants to consume it. So like over here, this Elgrin, this town wants it. So you'll get paid for moving it to here, and you'll get paid for moving it here to here. And it's just all those icons work that way. There's 3 main modes of transport. There's road, which is like trucks and stuff like that. And older years, it's horse-drawn carriages. I'm just going to press pause while we're starting here. And then there is train, hence Transport Fever, and it has the icon of the train on it. Much more capacity with a train. There is boats, and you use that when you're near rivers. So you can go like up and down the river here, for example. And then the 4th one is aeroplanes, and they can be both for passenger type cargo or also cargo. So the way I do this is to not worry about the entire chain at the start. You get paid from going like from A to B and not necessarily having to have a final destination. So if we look at this guy, the suppliers there's a whole lot of farms on the map where you could get it from, and the consumers is all the towns who could consume it. So at the start, what you want to do is to set up a positive money gathering exercise. Roads are going to cost you money. The depots where you have to like transfer out of the yard into the next thing are going to cost you money. So you want to kind of balance it off. One of the things that people try to do, which is not overly necessary, is they try to make sure that nothing's wasted. You're not going to lose money if there's waste. And so you can kind of ignore that at the start of the game and then treat it as an end game, like just optimization. So let's start this off. I want to show what it's like. It's hard. It means that finances are tighter, and it's just in general, it's going to be more difficult to succeed. What my plan here is, as I said, just start off the way I do. I'm going to join some really obvious things together. So like, for example, this and this are relatively close, and they're going to join together. Over here, I'm not seeing too much. So this one could go down to here, and eventually that's going to go back up to the town up here. There's some further ones like these ones, and this one could all feed up to here. I will note that it's not really going to be a great thing unless you get both of these things. This requires one of each. You can see here, and so you need 2 of those and 2 of those to produce 1. And so it's going to be important to deliver those at the right rate to just get a balance. basically each time you see an icon, you can represent that as 100. So this takes 200 ore and 200 coal to make 100 steel. So each icon's kind of 100. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let the clock run. The clock down here, if you click on the date, you can specify how fast time moves on. And as time goes on, more modern trucks and trains and boats turn up. I'm going to leave this as 1. It keeps it hard. And I'm just going to press play at normal speed. So the thing down here, we've got things to do with the road infrastructure, rail, boats, planes, and then terraforming. At the start, I'm just going to do road-based stuff. Within these 4 places, we have the infrastructure to build roads themselves. Roads are not the cheapest thing, and so you kind of want to avoid doing too much micromanagement at the start. Saying that, though, you can see here, I don't really want to go all the way into town and to come back out again. When you build a building, it's actually on all the sides. And so you can see how there's a collision there. It's out here, so we can actually make a road out here. And this is where the tendrils matter. Those little tendrils dictate actually whether it does or doesn't connect. And so what we're going to do is do that. And then under buildings, we're just going to want to drop off for now rather than drop off or pick up. This is for passengers. We're going to focus on cargo, which is this right one out of these 2. So this is where you pick up and drop off passengers. This is where you drop off cargo. So we are going to have to pick up the wheat will have to get dropped off and the bread will have to get picked up. But I'm actually going to separate that out into a separate thing because it costs money to do that. And so what's going to happen is, just to make the flow easier, is I'm going to shoot off here. We're going to drive into here. We're going to drop it off, say right here. And you can see how it's white over here. So there's a distance you can go away where it will or won't work. So anywhere in that distance. Now, I like to be semi-realistic and have it kind of near the place. So I'm going to put this here. This is US road system, so cars drive on the right and then go out on the left. But over here, where we're making wheat, we need it so that it's actually possible to pick up. So this cargo station has 2 sides and a road that is connected to. The annual cost is higher the more platforms you get. So at the start, and also the length of it, so if we make it like 30 long, you can see how it's got 3 bays now. This is what I was talking about wastage before. If there's stuff piling up, it just doesn't fit on the platform, it's just thrown away, but that doesn't cost you any money. So at the start, you just want to minimize it as much as possible. Now, this road is kind of unrealistic, that's way over here. So I'm gonna probably put it so which was it? That's not what I want to do. I'm going to put it so that it's kind of realistic to the building. So M and N on the keyboard rotate things. And then if you want a micromanagement of the scale, you can hold down Shift at the same time. This is with Shift. And this is without shift. So it's like, 12 degrees or something without it and about 4 or 5 degrees with it. I'm going to put this quite close. Just from a realism point of view, you could have put it all the way over there. So at this point, we've got our very first, what could in theory be a route. So that's where these come in. So this is the cars that you own, and this is the route. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new line from here to here. And those cars are just going to drive down the highway, drop them off, and then on the way back, they're going to make no money. It'll be a dead load on the way back. There's a lot of schemes that people like to use. You can use, the problem is the word like road and rail both start with R. So I tend to go T for train rather than rail. So this is road, and it's going to be, rather than passengers, it's going to be cargo. So road cargo, but the other thing it could be like is road passengers if this was a route for a bus, for example. But if this was a train, we would do train cargo or train passenger. Unfortunately, road and rail kind of get repeated. repeated. And we are doing wheat, and this is purely up to you how you do it. You don't even have to name them. And then this is near the town of Burbank over here. That's why I use the word Burbank. So at this point, this is set up, but it's not doing anything. It doesn't like make any money or anything. Actually, it's just a debt because these things actually cost you a little bit of money per month and per year to run. So you need to have what's called a depot. And so there's two different types. This one is for cars and this one is for trams. And we won't be looking at trams for now. So you just put this in town. I think I'm going to put this kind of like we'll put this kind of outside of town. You'll notice that as we move over things, we're having to demolish or resurface the land. And so when you're doing this, you do want to kind of minimize it. You can see like a sort of a 12-ish thousand version there. You don't want to be wasting money. Every dollar really does count. So then this is, we're in this Burbank Road depot. This was on Burbank Road in Burbank. And we can say we can buy vehicles. Now, I chose the 1900, so it still has some of the old horse-drawn stuff, but diesel-based stuff or petrol-based engines are starting to come in. We can filter it down to passenger, so you can see the horse-drawn carriages and this old bus thing, and we can also look at cargo. There's two types of cargo in general. There's one that usually takes everything. It tends to be covered no matter what era you're in. You can see that this takes all cargo and goes 25 kilometers per hour and it has a capacity of 6. This one has a slightly filtered list, and so it's more like palletized stuff. Same speed, same amount, so 6 units. Loading speed, you can load 1. It's risky, these two are exactly the same. And even the price is the same. So in this case, it makes sense to buy them. I'm going to buy 10. Now, we're started at $10 million, and so money can definitely be blown away pretty fast. You go 10, that's a lot. Well, it's going to be on that road a lot. And so now we're going to say for all those vehicles, I'm going to set them to work on that road system on this road network. And I can bring up the lines again. This road network. I have this one highlighted. And let's talk about the little pin, right? So if I close this down, this will, if you want something to not close as a window, you just pin it, right? And so we can keep that there on the screen all the time, so we can watch that. So at the moment, this thing has no consumers because we haven't got a route to anybody who wants to use it yet. Now, you don't have to go point to point. The bread could go to like a distribution center in Burbank, and then from that distribution center, it could go out all the way over here to Elgin over here. And that's more of the real world example of how these things work. You use a logistics model. Now, in this case, because there's some dead hauling back towards Elgin, what you could do is around here, you could have a distribution point that goes that last mile, that last over here to here. That's a good little tip. If you do know you've got some dead time in a route, you can kind of like use the backhaul to optimize it a little bit. What this is going to do is it's going to go down here and it's going to cost us money. It's going to finally get here. They're going to pick it up and then go all the way back. And so down here, you can see already that there's 25 on the platform and it's already overflown. So it doesn't matter if there's loss. It just means that they're able to produce more than the platform can make. So at this point in the game, what you want to do is run around and start generating these mini little optimizations or delivery networks. So I can see one over here. There's a logging forest, and we want to get it over here to the lumber mill. Now I don't want to go all the way around. And so what I'm going to do is make a road across here. I'm going to make it a dirt road because it's semi-cheap. And this is where these three tools come in. This is currently making a straight tool. And I don't really want it to be like a kink like that. So I kind of want it to be a curve. So rather than, and this one's upgrade where you can just change the type of the road. So you can change it to a different style. So what I'm going to do is with this curve one, I'm going to kind of come over here. And this is where the terrain comes into it, because you don't want to be going too much into a hill. But what you can do is you can either go tunneling, and we'll see what happens if this happens. I'm trying to make it so that we end up with a tunnel. So what I'm trying to do is get on the end of the road. And you can see here it generated a tunnel, but it's $1 million. So it's going to be a beautiful, flat, consistent rise the whole way through, but the tunneling is going to cost you a fortune. It's also a bit further to drive than you probably want. If we just start the curve and then go direct, $100,000. And it's going to make it flat, so you can see how it's done some cut and fill along the way. It's built up the terrain around here, and it's going to it's done a little bit of a cut over here. And this is kind of where you want to be. If it doesn't get too extreme, that much cut and fill is okay. If I had changed it and done the terrain, so like 25 there, and there's a bit of a hill here, so 25. Yeah, so in total, if I did these little sections that rise and with the land and stay on the contour, you probably could do it for a little bit cheaper. But for this case, I'm okay with a $200,000 ticket. So let's set up another line. And so what we need to do is give this place an ability to pick up the stuff. This thing remembers the last thing that you made, so it's got one platform. I'm just going to make it kind of realistic and put it outside the front. Because this area is a little bit more condensed, I'm actually going to do both things on this one. So we're going to go left and right, and one's going to be used for picking up, and one's going to be used for... actually, no, I'm not. I'll do it this way, yeah. And just for example. And then one's going to be for delivery. And so what we'll say is... one side will be risky the pickup point, and one side will be the delivery point. Most people tend to put, as you come in, you drop off, and then you wait on the other side for pickup. So there's like another line. It's going to be from here to here, and this one's going to be a road cargo. Is it timber? I think it's called timber. Columbia. And we could get somewhere there'll be a road network all the way back to the depot over here, but odds are that's probably not really tenable. So let's put a building in here. I'm just going to squeeze it here out of town. If there's a bit of road going on, I saw 15 for a sec there. Let's try over here, so we can find somewhere a little bit cheaper. There we go, 16,000. So once again, we're going to buy vehicles, cargo, these ones. We're going to buy 10 of those. If you want to see the price, you have to kind of like go up and down. And we're going to put them on. Oh, so that little eye icon will filter it for the lines in sight. So because that was on. It only showed the red one because that was in the view. If you toggle it off, you can see all of them. So it's because you tend to do things locally, I'm going to have it leave the eye on. And now they'll come out of that building, and then they'll go between here and here. So the supplies is arced up. It's trying to deliver 400. This guy... 400 logs, so that divide by 2 because of the two things means it's going to be producing 200, and that's what these levels are. If you produce at least 200 and then ship at least 200, which means the progress towards that crosses this bar, you will start to level up, and what will happen is this will become a twice that, and so rather than producing 200, it's going to produce 400 and will require 800 input. So for a place like this, it's actually going to need a second sawmill, and that's not anywhere to be seen, and that's where the transport comes into this. It's all about getting goods from faraway lands like way over here shipped all the way through to be part of that chain. So I'm going to quickly look for other examples. So we've got this leading into here. There's a big mountain in here. We could probably look at doing a bridge type thing, a tunnel thing through here, but at $3 million, that's just not obtainable right now. So let's kind of continue the road nice, even, like not too much terraforming. And we'll get that merged into there, and so we'll go all the way around and get some depots set up. So we only need to be picking up here, so we're going to put, so that's $94,000 because there must be some terraforming, because you can do it for $20,000 like we did before. So oh, that's what the price is. Put this on the, where's the side that's not going to have too much terraforming. That would do. And then over here, we can be overly specific. And so what I'm going to do is put in a road like this. We'll make it a straight road, which is very expensive. And what's going to happen is I'm going to make it so that each of those routes has its own drop-off spot, and then we're going to have a pickup platform, which is not going to get used for a while, but we put it there. And let's make some lines. So we're going to have from there to there, and then we're going to have another new line from here to here. And you can see how, did I get that right? Oh, so it's going around the way we don't want to. So let's talk about waypoints. So waypoints is a way of forcing something down a particular track. So I'm going to put that there, and we'll put one over here just because we can. And let's look at those lines. So the first line, which we haven't named yet, went from Columbia, which is way down south, and we can add a station in the middle. So we can add a waypoint and force it via that point. And much like that with the second one, we can say after this one, force it into this point. And so on the way, and we need on the way out, let's do one more waypoint, because I want them to come down here and leave this way. We'll have a waypoint over here. Go back to the lines. I'm pressing L for that. And then we're going to go waypoint over here and waypoint over there. And so now we can see them coming in and going out that way. We probably don't need those waypoints actually, because they were actually defaulting to those, so we don't probably need them. We don't. And so just use the bulldoze tool and get the money back, and also we don't have to pay the upkeep. So now, if we look at this, it's got suppliers will be available, but they're not giving any money, and that's because there's no trucks on the line. So the suppliers is based on that. Now, because we're going to go a long way a lot anyway, I'm just going to use this guy. We're going to buy, since it's such a long run, I'm going to buy 20 of those and put them on line 1, and I'm going to buy 20 more and put them on line 2. So now we need a name for this stuff. So we kind of need a Lakewood. So we can modify these, road cargo, and then I don't know, what is this producing? Is this iron ore? Iron, and then this one's coal, right? Yeah, coal. So the bottom one is the coal one. So it's coal, and we're in Lakewood. And then the other one, road cargo, and this one's ore, iron ore, near Lakewood as well. And so now we're making these pieces of steel. This actually needs to go across the border over to here and be one of the components. And so we can also quickly do that, because once again, it's like an in and out situation. That's make the streets cheaper and do the curve effect, and we're just going to curve it up into here. We'll make a building to service this. It's going to be, we could make a, we'll make this a two-way, so that way there's a drop-off and a pickup. We'll share the drop-off. We'll make another line, new line from this pickup point over to this pickup point. And so it's going to pick up its steel and go here. You'll get paid for that. It just will have a limit of how much it's willing to do. So this is also going to be road cargo, steel, Lakewood as well. And then we can put some cars on that. You can see the cars pouring out. Because we don't have too many right now, I'm just going to probably do 10. 10, yeah, 10's fine. And we'll put it onto that steel one as well. Could have probably done a little bit of an optimization and helped the city by putting in a road across here. Now, cities. So cities currently, as you produce and give them what they want, they'll become more and more affluent, and more buildings will be built. The AI will generate a road network as you do that, and so you actually don't want to be going like filling in that, because you want the AI to do it for free. Okay. So you can see at these places, there's plenty of ore being built up. And this is a good example where, because of the distance, a train may be more efficient. But trains are a huge investment and really hard to do at the start of the game. So let's quickly run around and see if there's any more obvious ones. I'm looking at this across here. Now, joining these two isn't worth it yet, because you must have input to cause the traffic. So even though you could join these two and make a route, if nothing's flowing because there's no materials, it won't make money. So this is not an option yet until we get the crude oil delivered to it. There is a crude oil over here, and so we could entertain the idea of putting a bridge across the water. And as you'll see, bridges are not cheap. So the keys M and N are used when you want to rotate a building. The two keys next to it, comma and period, make it go up and down. And so what this is doing is modifying like the destination height. So you can see it going way up into the air. Now, when it's a bridge rather than a building, M&M changed the hump. And so if we look at this sideways, by going M&N, you can specify how much of a curve that is. And so particularly you should add a bit of a hump to it if you believe that like a ship or something goes under it. Now, ships actually don't hit buildings or bridges. There's glitch through it, but it's more of an aesthetic thing that you want to get the hump nice. Now, that bridge actually isn't too expensive. I'm going to line it up. So it kind of comes into town square. I'm just trying to work out how much height we need. It's about there. We're currently level, and you can do that up and down things this way too. I think I'm actually going to do that just for the fun of it. So we'll accept that, and then we will continue into the town. I'm going to use straight roads here just to make it nice and clean. And then for some reason that's a bit wonky, and so we'll use a smaller road for this. Actually, we'll use the one that matches that. Now, as an example, this little bit here is the only thing that's slowing us down. So let's use the upgrade tool, and we're just going to hover that. If I do over here, you can see there's a big, long hover. If I hold down Shift, it brings it down to a little segment, right? So if you only want to do a little bit, you can hold down Shift. If you don't press the little bit, it will do the whole area. I believe, I think we'll just use the cheap road, the thinner one. And so that's now joined. So now we can move this crude oil over to the oil refinery over here, and then we'll probably ship it over here. So let's make this a very clean situation. So currently this road's a bit, I don't really want that curve. What I really want is a nice clean road that goes through here, and then a nice curve into there. And we're going to bulldoze this road and just make it a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to turn this into a T intersection at that point. And then because we're going to have probably a fair bit of traffic, we can kind of cheat this situation. So what you can do is you could do a road like this, and I'm probably not going to keep this, but you can do this type of thing where, because it activates, you come in and go out, and it never really gets in the way of the traffic. Now, I'll leave that up to you to decide if you want to be that type of person who, you know, kind of overly optimizes the game like that. I'm going to put that on the corner for no good reason. And so now we need one more over here. And this is going to be a transfer station too. Another good example where we can optimize it. So we'll make this a straight road. Come in off there. We'll have a drop-off point on this side. We'll have the pickup point. And then we can make the lines. I'm pressing L to generate lines. So here to here is a line. And then we also want our thing over here. We haven't put down a pickup point yet. So we'll put down one of those. Once again, using M and N to rotate it. Now I could rotate it like so it joins the building. That's from a squareness point of view. So I'm holding down Shift and pressing M and M for that. And you can have a pretty long tail out of the building. And so back to the lines. New line from here up to here, the drop-off point. And then the last thing is into town, and we'll do that in a sec. So let's get these lines renamed. So this is this is producing what's called crude. You could call it oil as well. Road cargo, we'll call it crude, and it's in Lakewood. The other one up here is producing refined oil. Road cargo, oil in Lakewood. I missed the space. And then the last thing we want to do, the last thing we want to do is bring it into town, back into Lakewood. So in town, the way you sell it is to have things in the radius of buildings. So you can put down one of these transfer points again. And so if I put that down over here, you can see the buildings that are highlighted. It's like over here. These ones with the package want to buy packages. These ones with fuel want to buy that. And over here, they don't want to. And there's an overlay here, which I'm not going to go into too much, but where is it? The building overlay will show you the same thing where you want to invest in it. So I don't actually need to invest in some drop-off point down here to pick up this end of the city because they're not going to ever purchase fuel. So the kind of optimization you can make. My plan is they're going to come in, probably go around this corner and then leave. Now, because this is a drop-off, I don't actually need the ability to have stuff stored on the platform. I can have it just delivered like to the street as a standard drop-off point. So that's what this shed is designed to do, is allow you to drop off things. So we're going to come into town, and then and that seems to be pretty good. See how this is not highlighting when I'm doing here because it's too close. If it's in front of the building, it doesn't work. But over here, it does. It does actually do some quite good coverage. So what I'm going to do is actually put it over here, which kind of seems unintuitive, but it's going to work. We'll make a line, and it's going to go from this crude oil place into Lakewood. And so what we're making is fuel. And so let's name that line. Road cargo fuel into Lakewood. And I tend to say, hey, this is the end of the line. I tend to put the word delivery when it's the finishing of the sequence. So I know that it's just the end. It's just, there's no real reason to it. Now over here, we're still a fair way from this depot. Where is it? Depot down here. So I think we'll make another depot up here in Lakewood. We'll put I tend to put them out of the end of town. Actually, we've got more here on the left. So we'll go out here. Saw a nice 14,000. We'll just do a micro rotation so it kind of lines up with the road with Shift M and N. Where'd that 14,000 go? There it goes. And then out of here, we're going to buy a lot. So we're going to say, hey, I want 10 of those that need to go, and we'll go for start to finish. So we'll go there, and we'll buy, whoops, we just made a mistake then. So let's actually look at the vehicles thing. So Lakewood has these vehicles. I just bought passenger vehicles, which is completely incorrect. So I'm going to sell them and do that again. So out of here, we're going to buy, have to make sure it's highlighted, 10 of those, select them all and put them on Lakewood Crude. And then we're going to say out of there, make sure it's selected, 10 of those, and they're going to go between, now for every one of these, it makes 5 of those. So let's actually not select them all. We'll choose the first 5. And they're going to go between here and here. It's also much shorter, so we probably don't even need that many. Actually, we probably only need 3. And we'll put it on there, and then between town, this is a 1-to-1. We'll put 3 between there and town, which is delivery, and those extras we'll put on the crude line to get that going. Right, so now it will say that suppliers, when this all lights up and stuff delivers, it will say that the Lakewood Fuel Refinery is a supplier once one thing's been delivered. And so this is saying that consumers, they've asked for 400 to be shipped, and we haven't actually achieved anything yet. When we start actually moving supplies, you'll see that number go up. So if we look over here where there is actually someone, you can see that it's, if I choose the right thing, consumers sending 400, we're still not transported. So you can see this guy's got stuff on it. Now these guys are all queued up because they are take a long time to load. So let's talk about how these things actually decide how long to stay there, because this truck is nearly full, and when they hit 6, they should go, right? He should be driving off and leaving. So let's look at that little micromanagement side of it. So under lines, and so this is this blue one right here, it's saying when we're at Locust Exchange, minimum stop time 0, maximum 3 minutes, and load is available. So what you want to say is, look, load any. So load any is when you have more than one product. You can say, as long as you fill up the whole truck, I don't care if it's 4 of X and 2 of Y, but once you're full, then you can go. This one says, try to fill up it exclusively with one thing and then leave. So we're going to do that. Minimum stop time is going to be 0 seconds. Because there's no reason to leave and come with an empty load, maximum stop time doesn't have to be too long. I'm going to set it to 30 because I just want things to, this is kind of contradictory. You want them to stay there normally, but because I'm trying to get things moving here, we'll get them to do that. So full, what I'm saying is I just want them to move out of the way. One of the risks that we have right now is this road actually could get blocked by cars trying to get in, and it wouldn't allow cars to go past. So you have a tiny little amount of risk there. Now everything else has kind of got a dedicated spot. It's not really needed to micromanage it. And you can see slowly these things are arriving, they're unloading, and production's going up. And that's where the capacity of the vehicle matters. Like if we look at a vehicle, that's where these numbers come in. It's how fast they can load. It takes roughly 6 seconds or 6 ticks for it to load and or unload. And so in later years, you get to capacities like with a big semi-trailer, right? Like a bigger 18-wheeler, where they've got a much bigger capacity and they actually can load much, much faster. And obviously their road speed goes up as well. And so over time, you may need 100 on this run with these little guys for example, around here, but you may only need 5 semi-trailers in the future. Upgrading the road also has an effect. These guys can go 25, and a dirt road is good for 40. So at the moment, it's not an issue, but if we wanted to run a high-speed vehicle on it, then you would need to upgrade the road. So these ones inside town are only 20, 40, 60. So actually that road we made over here, actually this little bit here, this 20 here, actually is a speed blocker. Looking at this oil thing, consumers sending 400. It's transport 0 because nothing's arrived yet. You can see that there's plenty on the platform, and these guys filling up and then leaving. So we can go manage the line, and don't just get on with it. All right, and this is 30 seconds of real time, by the way. All right, so let's keep on micromanaging this. So these ones actually require 2 and 2, and there's some ore here and ore here. So we can actually also start a line between here and here. That would make money. But let's just walk around the map, see if there's anything else that's kind of obvious. There's stone, crude oil, nothing related to each other. That's a long way between there. There's no real obvious wood. The medium density of the autogen of the map probably was a little bit low. We could run a nice valley road through here. Our money's getting really low though, so we've got to be really careful about spending money. I was thinking about that, but that's going to be a bit too costly. There's the half starting of a thing through here, but there's no real orange ones. So the iron ore, so that makes it hard. None of these make sense. This one does. This one's pretty good. So we are losing a lot of money, but hopefully some of those things are going to start delivering and it will all balance out. We do have wood over here that we could drive through here. It's not the furthest distance, so that's tempting to do. So let's add that. That's going to make it so it's easier to drive in, and we'll make that straight line and drive out. So we'll put a drop-off building there, and they'll drive over to here, and we have a pickup building over here. Just put that straight outside, square it up a bit, make another line. And this one is going to, what's the closest town here? It's going to be called, where's the local town? Town. There's not really, I suppose we'll just call it Augusta Farm, or Augusta area. So you actually can, on these, you can do copy paste. So I can go Control C if you can't remember the spelling. And so we'll call this the Augusta area. And then for this line, it's also written there. We can go road, cargo, wheat. It's not wheat, it's timber or logs. And it's going to be in Augusta. Now, because we're on the other side of the river, there's no chance of another depot. So we may have to put a depot in here to justify it, or to make it work. So we'll put it kind of in the central area here. I'm going to dump it in there. We're going to choose that one and put it on that line. Now there's also one down here, and so this is 2-to-1. So it probably is worth investing in that as well. So we'll quickly put that in here. I'm doing a very high level. Money is rapidly descending, so we have to be very careful. We'll go here. We're going to share this thing because the odds are it's probably not going to be overwhelmed. And then we'll buy 10 more vehicles of the right thing. Another $500,000, and that can go on line but one. And so the road cargo timber, we can Control C that, and then we'll go north on that one, and we'll call this one south. All right, so at this point, we are hemorrhaging money. Let's look at our finances. Actually, let's do it this way. We've been investing a lot of money. That's where the money has been going. But you can see, look, we've actually made some profit in the road area, the road network. So this is the road-based deliveries. Maintenance is really expensive, and so we're barely making profit for the cost of the building, the cost of the things we've been building, as in the new trucks we've been making. If we look at towns, the towns are starting to grow because we're delivering goods, right? So they want more and more goods. So we're in 1903 yet. We haven't moved a long time very much. So let's finish our scan of stuff we can do. It'd be great if we could get that working, but we need the stone. Nothing really obvious here. We could go through here. This one's good because there's two farms, one here and one here. So that's actually practical to do. Should we do that one? I'm worried about money, so I think it's plausible that we do that. So let's give that a go. This may be the last thing we can do until we have to wait to build up some money. I'm going to just make a drop-off area in here. So we'll go around in a loop. And then the drop-off point right there. I'm probably going to square out these roads because we probably want to be a little bit more optimal through here. If I can get the point. And then we'll turn this one to a curved one so it joins in nicely. Probably not explicitly required to do that, but yeah, why not? So let's get down our buildings. M&N again to do the rotation. We are rapidly running out of money, so we're going to be very careful here. If you delete a field, it's just cosmetic, but don't do it. It's like in Minecraft, don't leave trees hanging. In Transport Fever, don't destroy fields. Doesn't matter, but don't do it. So that's one line. It's going to be like the, we'll call that the road cargo wheat in Augusta, and this is going to be to the west. And then we'll make another line. Oops, that's not what I want. A new line from this one, and then this will be to the in the east. All right, so there's no cars on this. This one's it's fair away, but I think I'm going to use it because these have upkeep. They cost money, but we're going to waste time driving. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. So 10 trucks. Buy that. I'm scrolling down, so this is highlighted, and then we'll do that again. 10 trucks, and I'm using WASD here to scroll around. I forget which one we put it on. I think it was the top one first. And we can double check that. We can double click on the line, manage vehicles. Sorry, manage vehicles. Yeah, there's 10 on this, and there is 10 on this. Cool. So this guy will be ramping up his supply. So currently this guy is sending 196. This guy is sending 4 to 200 because this guy only wants 200 because he's only at level 1, and that's where there's a mistake. So if we leave our things over here, it's actually going to cost us money. So what I'm going to do is everything but 1 I'm going to move it across to the other line. So I selected them and moved them over to here. So this is going to drive a lot of it. By having a tiny amount in here, it's going to remember that it's needed and help with the calculations of future use. But that's a good lesson of sometimes too much expansion is not worth it unless the person consuming it is needed. Now, it doesn't have to be this person consuming it. If there was a car that just happened to drive past here and pick up anything that was spare, so this could be a distribution point, or anywhere it could be. I could put a station here. The excess could go here, and then rather than going to this farm, it could go along a road network and could go to wherever required. Okay. All right, so we're down to $187,000. I'm just quickly looking for anything that's really obvious. There's one across here, but I don't think we can afford to do it. Yeah, this one would have been nice. Oh, what I might do is do the really cheap way of dropping it off. And so they'll actually do a U-turn on the road. And so we might actually leverage that ability. And so we could put it all out there on the road because it's still highlighted, but I'm going to do the right thing and kind of make it real. And we'll make another line. New line from here to here. And this is the Oklahoma something. So road cargo, stone in Oklahoma. So another tiny little network. Now we need cars for that. Oh, that's a long way to drive. So we do have this one. This one's plausible. So yeah, a one-way trip. I'm just going to buy just a couple because we don't have that much money. Actually, I'm just going to buy. Yeah, I'm going to buy two. And we'll put it on the, I'm not sure what, put it on Oklahoma. All right, so loans are not a bad thing. So we started with a $10 million loan and we've blown through it. It's not the worst thing in the world to have debt. So I'm going to get an extra 500 grand just to cover our negative expenses. And now what I'm going to do is just let this run. So we're at 52 minutes, and that's the kind of like the period I wanted to get to and show you the general gist. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to press save. Now, savings thing I should have mentioned, this doesn't get saved. And so Transport Fever 2 demo game, we're going to call this, and we're in the year 1903 at the moment. And so what I'm going to do is run forward in time, in real time, and just sit here. I'm going to still leave it as single speed, but I'm going to sit here real time for 5 or 6 minutes and see where we are financially with all this going on. Okay, so we're back to November, 1 year later from when we started that. Money's down a little bit in our bank account down the bottom left. We started with 400 and something, or now it's down to 200. But you can see our earnings is going up. It was very red when we started doing this, just watching for a year. So the question is, where did the money go and how was it spent? So let's talk about some of the statistics that we can look into. We have this line statistics that gives you how much money each of our lines is producing. And we can sort that by the amount of profit. And so this particular wheat line over in Augusta is making the least, and this crude oil is showing us the most. So that's the crude oil is this nice little tight run between here and up here. That's great to see. Let's have a look at the rest of them. and see what is this Augusta one. So now remember how we have two. So let's sort by line name. There is an east and a west version, and so this has got a lot of vehicles on it, and it's also one of the ones we made later in the game. So currently a lot has been covered, transported. So let's jump across to there. That's this one over here. So where it's going across here. And so let's have a look at the person who's doing it. So roughly 176 is being brought from this farm and 24 from over here. And then it's going nowhere. So it's willing to accept 200 to produce only 100, which is why that much is being sent. Now, you can see here, the reason why it's losing money is there's too many people on this. Okay, we've got the balance wrong, and so all these guys are just sitting there causing debt. And so we can fix that a couple ways. We could just select it and we could sell the vehicle. We could just get rid of it, or we can just transfer it onto other lines. And so you can see that there's the price of them sitting there. So 120, 124, and so we can manage the vehicle and just move it to another line. Now, over here, this orange one, it does have some on the station, and we have very few on that line, just one. So what I'm going to do is move a couple people from this side over to the orange one. So I'm just going to choose this guy at the back, and I'm going to where is he? So this guy, manage vehicle. I'm going to move that person over to the other one, and you'll see he's kind of stuck where he's in traffic. So let's choose guys at the front instead, and we'll move that person over to orange, so that way when this guy leaves they'll be freed up to go. And we'll also move this guy. This is a very micromanage way of doing it. Now don't forget, there's nobody coming this direction, so we do need some to stay on this line. And so once this guy leaves, it'll all balance out a lot better. Now, we probably could have stayed because there's nobody coming the other direction. But there is some capacity. Where is it? It is trying to send 171. And I think we don't have that much capacity, so it makes sense, I think, to move some people across. Looking at another line, let's pin that so we don't lose it. The numbers are getting better and better and better. So that's the one we just fixed. Timber, let's go across the timber line. This is once again where we have two networks. So this guy is receiving from here and here. He's willing to accept two 100s to make a 100. And we probably just having too much. Well, there's no delay. So once the person arrives, he's able to pick it up and leave. There's no queuing, so we don't have too many on the line, and there's nobody here. So this is going to balance out. What will happen is they'll keep on delivering. The problem is this will not go past 100 because it's got no shipment, and that's the next thing you would need to do in the sequence. You would need to organize for this to get somewhere. Now, luckily it's right there, so we can make money by doing this quite easily by quickly putting in somewhere to pick it up. We'll say it's in here. Let's say that they go there. And then I'll just put in one of these things. I'll make it a double. This can be the in and the out. And we can quickly put in a line over here. And then we'll name it. I'm just going to use the Control C to help me name this. And we're going to say row cargo. And this is going to be lumber. And it's in Augusta. The local, I forget where the local thing was. Oh, right here. The local shop's here. Because I don't know what really capacity we're running at, I'm just going to go for 5 for right now. And we'll do the I thing. And there we go. So yeah, so this will then cause shipments to go. And it will say, hey, this Augusta Tools Factory, this one, we'll start doing it. And that's what you do at the start of the game. If we look at the overall finances, we're spending a little bit more than we're receiving, but that's because we're building up the world. If we, you can see the initial investment, but we're getting closer and closer to the profits. What will happen is the tide will turn, and we'll start to come out the other side and make money. And I can see a cheap little one in there as well. So at the start, you just want to keep on building up these little micro ones. Loans are not your enemy. The loan rate is low enough that it doesn't really matter. It's like 1%, which is way less than you're going to spend or make profit on other lines. But yeah, the quick thing is keep on spending money, join all these small things. Don't worry about the entire end-to-end to the end. When it's one where it takes two, make sure that you provide both, but don't provide it too early unless you have somewhere to ship it, because you will hit individual capacities. When it comes to bridges and stuff, just be careful of the price. Once you have your money up in the $10 to $100 million range, then you can start entertaining trains because they're super expensive. Use the financial model view under the line statistics to give you an idea of what's going good and what's going bad. Currently, we're making a little bit more than what we're losing, and this is getting better and better as time goes on. When it comes to vehicles will cost you maintenance. If you change a vehicle and say, hey, this particular guy is running a different maintenance schedule, it will avoid the yearly cost. So basically what this does is it makes a cost up front to avoid a long-term cost. Now, what that means in the start of the game is it doesn't matter. At the start of the game, all the vehicles you've got are going to get thrown away, so it doesn't matter if they degrade down to bad. And really what happens is you tend to invest in that when you get to big trains and stuff like that. So lines and where they're making profit, this is your bread and butter. Vehicles, just make sure that there isn't any that are having major problems and causing things. The actual stations, so if all these little depots we're putting down, all these things, that's considered to be a station, this thing. And so it'll tell you whether they're overloaded. Overloaded is very poor, so like for example, this one has way too much on it. It doesn't matter. Wastage does not matter at the start of the game. Towns, are the towns growing? So you can work out whether they do or don't receive the necessities that they want. You can see that the only one we've done so far is this fuel has been delivered to Lakewood, and gives you an idea of what scale it is at. If you also added in buses around town, for example, you can grow the town. And the last is factories, who's producing what and at what rate. And so, like, for example, this food processing plant is producing 41 out of its 100 capacity right now, 59. So there's a lot of growth. But you can see all these wheat farms, for example, are all maxed out. There's no more capacity left for them to produce into the world. So we'll leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed that view of a Transport Fever map at the start of the game. I might follow up and what I'll do is off camera finish producing all these tiny little road networks, and then next time if I do it, comment below if you want it. We'll do trains and move on to boats and trains and all the other things that are in the game. And there's an entire area over here that we haven't done hardly anything on. So with that, I'm Developer Plays. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time when I delve into my Steam library and play a game that I haven't played for ages. As always, thanks for watching.